when to attack, and his decision making is just amazing. Bomber, on the other hand, he lost the first map against Idra and was still able to take the series with a 2-1. So really impressive performance by him as well. And this is basically what it comes down to right now. We have a Terran versus Terran on Atlantis spaceship. But before we head into the match, we're having a quick look into the stats once again.
Yep, I'm going to take a look at those on screen right here. You can see the win rate versus Terran for both these players fairly similar. MMA at 59%, Bomber at 56%. Bomber, you know, what I really want to say about Bomber here today is Bomber, if he's on a roll, he's on a roll. He very rarely does well like he did against Idra and then flops. He actually looked so good against Idra, and I think his mindset is...
It's just a huge map. You can actually hide an expansion. It's taking quite a risk and a little bit of a gamble, but sometimes it just pays off. Especially in a best of 3 series, you can use a strategy like this and be a little bit more risky. But now the game started, and we have to the bottom left of the map, in the red color, our Terran player for Team Slayers. It is MMA. And his opponent to the top of the map in the blue color, starting for Startail here, it is Bomber.
I want to hear from you guys. Who do you want to win? Who in the crowd wants Bomber to win this match? I'm like, uh-oh, Bomber's in trouble, man.
He will work in MMA's favor is Bomber won't have stim, he won't have combat shield, so the Banshee will be in a position where he can take down a Marine with just 2 shots. There will be no danger of Bomber just using a stim, getting in there, taking down the Banshee or whatever. So a Banshee in really good unit control could do a lot of damage.
You basically need either stim or Vikings to deal with Banshees. Turrets can help, they can grant you vision, but with perfect control, we're talking about Korean players here with perfect control.
And Cloak is nearly done.
I'm really surprised he didn't start picking away at those Marines. You know, we talked so much about the amount of damage you can do with the Banshee against your opponent's Marine. Large armies can move out now. I like this. The Banshee coming in here a second time while the units are out of position. He actually forced him to turn around with several of those Marines. He's actually doing a ton of damage now. The Banshee up to 8 kills.
This Banshee is doing a lot more damage than it should have been able to do. We already, well, finally it's getting taken down. This was the second scan that he had to use in order to make sure that those Banshee died. There's still one going strong, and I don't know why he could have built just a single Viking.
He could have done that, but he really wanted to get those medevacs out by the looks of things. He only made the 2, and he's now adding another factory at his natural. Tanks are in production. Combat shield's almost done here, and this Banshee is going to take out the supply depot. Meanwhile, this...
And do as much damage as it can.
Yeah, it was actually such a smart choice.
At first he tried to get his better economy, and now since the point where he was able to really a lot of damage with this, and he catches MMA out of position quite often. MMA was just moving out with his Marines when the drop happened, so he could not get back into his main base early enough. He lost a lot of mining time, not only the SCVs and the medevacs that were killed, but those 2 Marines here are actually doing a good job. Catching those... this is... wow.
6 hit points left on that medevac.
Yeah,
gone down.
Catching the 2 medevacs off guard, take one down, and the second one was really lucky here.
Yeah, indeed it was. Now the upgrades right now for these 2 players are both at 1-1. +2 just finished for our Red Terran player MMA. A little bit faster than his opponents, but his is almost there. +3 is being started though, and that is going to be so crucial with both players having such a Marine. They're even building basically the same things. It's just the Bomber is building more. He's got an upgrade for his tanks already. That's something his opponent does not have. He just has everything going for him here. He's just looking really solid. He got a huge lead from those 2 drops, and he ran with it.
He's already at 200 supply. Very soon he will start to get additional orbitals. He's already getting 1, but there will probably a lot more command centers and orbitals. Then he will start to sack SCVs, and there they are. Another orbital command center just started, and another one.
He sees it though, and that orbital is not very fast. Stim Marines are much faster than orbital command centers. He takes it out. He's going to retreat to his heavily upgraded siege tanks. God. And Bomber now with a huge lead in supply, 190 to 138. Bomber looking unstoppable in this first set, Kaldor.
This is the worst case scenario for MMA right now. Bomber is now just getting all these additional orbitals. He will sack some of his SCVs, free up additional supply that he can use for units, and then he will have such a great army that he can just take down MMA and trade. It doesn't have to be efficiently, he just has the meta economy, dropping to the main base of his opponent once again, just trying to take down a few units. MMA is ready, is in position, but Bomber uses the time in order to siege forward with his tanks once again, just making sure that MMA does not get a third base here, while he is expanding over and over again. He already has a fourth right now, and this is just horrible for MMA at this point.
The attack that Bomber just made is actually the best case scenario for MMA because he had that better upgrade advantage for a moment there. Oh, 2 drops of Bomber getting caught, and suddenly MMA looks like he's not in a winnable position by any means, but at least everything is going well for him all of a sudden. He won that drop engagement, he killed 2 dropships, he's forced Bomber back. Bomber now can no longer really restrict his opponent from taking that third base, but he's still so ahead. MMA is clawing his way back into this though.
We have now 181 supply against 136 in the middle of... Is it me, or is there suddenly a lot more Bomber fans?
I don't know, man. I think there might be a lot more Bomber fans in here. At least the Bomber fans who were quiet before, they've come out. They want to actually cheer on Bomber as a fan. Now, at this point, we have to ask, what builds will we see? We're at close positions by air. That means a player who chooses to go for a Banshee-oriented play or a quick drop play will have some sort of advantage. Now, MMA, as a Slayer's Terran, has the ability to do this Hellion Marine drop. We haven't seen it in a while, but some players do this in TBT. Pairs this in time, this is going to be a really tough attack to defend, but because he's prepared, he may be able to do just that. The Marines get into the bunker now, and the Marauder's sitting on the ramp for a little bit. He's actually not making a third Marauder just yet. What is going to be his next step here?
It looks like he's completely content with just relying on those 2 Marauders in order to pressure his opponent a little bit and force him to get more defensive units, not get an early expansion. And yeah, he's just completely hovering back into his main base. He realized that he won't be able to do too much damage, and well, without risking too much on his own. So yeah, he's just retreating now, going back to his main and dropping a command center.
Yeah, he drops the command center. He's got a factory finishing up here as well.
8429.
Congratulations, everyone. That's awesome.
Hey everyone, thank you for sticking with us for the first day of IGN Pro League's Starcraft 2 tournament. Let's give a warm round of applause before they escape to Wolf and Kaldor, who came all the way from Korea to entertain you guys. Kaldor's very sick too, so he's really being a trooper tonight. I also want to thank our incredible sponsors who make this event possible. We have AMD, we have Astro, Twitch TV, Playhem, Gunner, and Kingston HyperX. Thank you so much, guys, for believing in us, believing in esports. Thank you, crowd, for sticking with us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. That's 10 a.m. Pacific.
Very little Marines. He's going to have to rely on Vikings only. That's where the cloak comes in. If you can position your Banshee outside of turret range or scans, then you can just do so much with it. I really, really loved his decision making after scouting the proxy Marauders to just go for that cloak Banshee.
It was a really impressive game by Bomber, and I certainly wouldn't have expected him to take down MMA with 2-0. So very well played, and he looked really strong in all these games that he played today. Against Idra, he kind of struggled a little bit, and MMA was a little bit more of the dominant player in the Terran versus Zerg, but his TVT was just impeccable. This was just
It's an identical composition to his opponent, but he just has less stuff. In the production tab, you can see 15 Marines being built at a time versus 8 Marines being built at a time. That is just very telling of the state of this game.
What MMA needs right now is either a really good drop or at least a perfect